Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to H Capture Live. I'm your host, Harry Bridgeforth, and I have with me a very special guest, friend of mine, a prophet, Mr. Franklin M. Turner. How you doing, bro?
And I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, hanging in there.
Good.
We talk off camera for a while, and we went down. Me and the wife, me and Tosh, we went down and saw you guys in South Carolina? You're in South Carolina or North Carolina? I can't remember.
North Carolina.
You're in North Carolina.
We living in South Carolina, but we all met up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, there we go. Go. So then we talked about some of the things that you're doing, and I wanted to definitely have you as a guest on my show. So the way the show is going to get broken down is we're going to talk a little bit about you, give the audience and some of the fans an intricate look at what you do, because you're a busy guy and very influential. So I wanted to make you showcase that. We're going to ask you a couple questions about that, and then we're going to break it down to 6 shotgun questions, which are like this or that type of question. And then we're going to have a conclusion where you give you any plugs, and then we'll be good to go. Okay?
All
right. Going right into it. For those who don't know, you're a prophet and a pastor. So how did you get into being a pastor and prophet?
Man, to make a long story short, I didn't really get into it. I was called into it.
There you go.
A lot of times you hear people with this mystical, I was called to be something.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it is a calling.
Okay.
And I just say, I didn't grow up with the best childhood.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, was into a lot of different things. Like I said, without going into too much for the sake of time.
No, take your time. You good.
Basically, when I was 18, 19 years old, I was facing 44 years in prison.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot, brother.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I was facing 44 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a whole lot of trouble, doing a whole lot of things that I had no business doing.
Mm-hmm.
Troubled childhood, had a great father, but still I got into a lot of trouble, found myself facing 44 years and found myself needing more help than I was able to give myself.
Yeah.
This is at the time that I cried out to the Lord. And I just prayed a simple prayer because my grandfather was a pastor, had pastored for 25 years. My grandmother, they were already pastoring in the ministry. So I kind of knew of God, but I didn't know.
Yeah, like a connection.
I didn't have a connection with him myself.
Yeah, that's a total different thing though.
Yeah.
A lot of people that they don't understand that.
Yeah, that you can hear of somebody, but you not know them personally.
Yeah.
So I knew of God, but I didn't really know him for myself. So my simple prayer was, God, if you're real, I need you to be real in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I'm going to be honest, I was in trouble. I needed immediate help.
ASAP.
Yeah.
To show up.
I needed help ASAP. You know how people say he may not come when you want him, but he's always no. I needed him right now. Yeah, I needed him right now. And I tell you, I know it sounds cliche, but from that moment on, my life was radically changed. God began to do some phenomenal things in my life. I was pending trial for 2.5 years. So for 2.5 years, I was going back and forth to court. For 2.5 years, my court trial was being delayed and pushed off. So for 2.5 years,
you didn't even know what was going to happen.
I didn't know what was going to happen, and I had this hanging over my head. But in between that 2.5 years, I had given my life to the Lord. I had begun to pursue him. I had begun to build a relationship with him. I had begun to go to church at this time. So for 2.5 years, and it came to a point that finally the court date no longer got pushed off.
So now you're gonna know what it is.
So now I'm gonna know what's gonna go on. And I remember my dad getting ready that morning. And I remember my dad getting ready real quick. Like, I was in no rush to get to the,
He was like, let's go. We go.
But my dad, I often reflect on this. My dad was like in a hurry. And I was thinking to myself, man, is he in a hurry for me to go to jail? but
maybe he knew something you didn't know.
Maybe he knew something that I didn't know. So we finally went, and I remember that day, the judge asking me and looking at me. Let me back it up a little bit. I remember having a plea deal that my lawyer had made a plea with the lawyer, with the prosecuting attorney.
Okay.
I distinctly remember the prosecuting attorney leaving the courtroom and a new prosecutor coming in and telling the judge all deals are off the table.
Wow.
My lawyer looks at me and I look at my dad.
Yeah, this is it.
Like what? What's going on? And she's coming in like, we want 10 years minimum of the 44. A minimum, sir, ma'am, we're pushing for a 10-year minimum. I had been caught with an unregistered gun going cross state line.
Yeah, they gave that's a.
I was living in West Virginia and got caught up in Maryland. And they wasn't playing no games.
Yeah. Every state has a different thing for it. You get caught in New York like that, it's a wrap too. So
she's coming in. I don't know what deal they had. All deals off the table. Blah 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 blah. Judge looks at me. Young man, do you have anything to say for yourself? And I remember, like it was yesterday, I told the judge, I said, I did everything that I'm charged of. But within this 2.5 years, my life has radically been changed. And I'm no longer that same guy that I was 2.5 years ago. I remember something happening in the courtroom, and I tell this story a lot, that she almost had a tear come to her eye. And she said, either I have to give you what they're asking for, or I have to let you go because there is no in between. And she looked at me and she said, young man, I don't want to ever see you in my courtroom again. She gave me 2 years supervised probation.
Wow.
Within them 2 years.
Yeah, if you did anything, it's rap.
If I did anything, it was a rap.
You going. Yep.
But the thing was this. If I didn't do anything, they were going to totally expunge my record like it never happened.
Wow.
Brother, I've worked for the airport. I've worked as a school teacher. I've worked for the government. Since then. Yep. Because of that. Because of that.
That's the thing. A lot of people, especially in our community, it's like we get caught up and then there's a situation you can't ever recover because all you need is that one mistake. And then you're in the system and then they're not looking at you like that no more. And I think that a couple of things have changed with employment, but overall it's still, they kind of like, it's just a asterisk on your name. It's tarnished, regardless if you really didn't.
When I look back, if I would have got that on my record,
totally different life.
It's a totally different life. So I just thank God for his grace. And that was really my introduction of the calling. And as I continued to pursue him, more and more things begin to be revealed to me that this is who he had created and called me to be.
Yeah.
To cover, to manage, to oversee, and to pour into the lives of the next generation.
Yeah. I think once you find that as a person, it makes everything that you're doing easier. You know what I mean? Like once you find like what you're supposed to be here for, like put like this, everybody they don't have the same timeline. I always say like with everybody's timeline, you have your timeline and people intersect, but like you're supposed to be doing something for you. Like you're supposed to be here for a particular reason. Like you have all these other people, like me and you have intertwined for some reason. But you have your life, I have mine. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing to actually get that, actually feel that, and then be happy with it. You know what I mean? A lot of people they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like that. And it's like, okay, you know.
But it's man, look, I didn't sign up for this. I was enrolled.
Yeah.
I was enlisted. and I didn't have any say so.
Yeah.
So it's like once God does these type of things in your life, it's like okay, whatever you need me to do,
whatever you need. That's how it is. It's like I don't know what your overall plan is for me, but I can feel that this is where you want me to do. Just I'm gonna keep my hands away. Just let me go. Like just
that's it.
You know, let me move. So
that's it.
That's a blessing. That's what's up. What's up? Do you feel like what's the greatest thing? Because we talked about your businesses as well. What's the greatest challenge that you have as a pastor and a CEO, like a business owner, entrepreneur?
Man, the greatest challenge as a pastor and is managing people, managing different personalities, managing different person's needs. That's the most difficult thing of being a pastor to somebody, a mentor, a life coach. Those are the greatest challenges of just managing personalities, managing who they are, what they need, because the way that I may be able to talk to you, I can't talk to somebody else like that.
Yeah.
Things that I can say to you and conversations me and you can have, I can't have that same conversation. So it's not a one size fits all with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people all the time, like, you just don't go to school to be a pastor. You just don't go to school to be a prophet. This is something that God has to call you into.
Yeah.
Because if you're not called into this, you're gonna mess up somebody's life.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, there's a great responsibility that comes along with anytime you teach someone anything, right? Because you're like, it's the worst time if you feel that you don't believe in the same stuff you're teaching, because then you're literally changing someone's life because they're listening to you and believing it and then applying it to their life.
Right.
You know?
And then it's the thing of you having to model what you're teaching.
Yeah, because that's the worst thing, right? To talk, especially in like the biblical sense and in the spirituality sense, it's like you're listening to your pastor and then you see him at the liquor store. It's like, wait, what? Like, you told me not to, you told me, I thought that was bad. Oh, no, it's only bad for you. You know, like it ain't bad for me. Or like, you got people, you know, I think as you get older, you understand that people are human. Even your pastor is human. Yeah. But there's limitations to your pastor being human and living versus your pastor being human and robbing and not listening. You know what I mean? Like not actually following what his calling is there for. Like his job is to teach you and help you, but like you said, you gotta live the example. So
because you can't lean on the humanistic aspect of to use that as a cover up for not living what you're teaching.
Yeah, and a lot of people do it. A lot of people that are pastors do it, and not just pastors, but bishops and you know, every religion. I think there's always somebody that they misuse their power, just like anything else that has power, right?
Anybody in authority.
Yep, they always
anybody in authority. It's the cop that'll pull you over for speeding, but he's speeding on the highway.
Or like somebody like a police officer that simple example, police officer that you get pulled over some weed, serve all these years, and then he's smoking it.
He spoke.
We get caught selling it or some shit. And like that's reality.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody from any level of authority, you have a responsibility to actually be that. And if you can't, I always look at it like if you can't be that, then just save everybody the problem. Just don't even do the job. You know what I mean? Like don't do it.
And that's a good segue of what I always tell people. I'm not trying to be anything. I am.
Yeah. This is what I am.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who, and I'm growing in the grace of God, just like you're growing in the grace of God. Mm-hmm. But even though I'm still on the way to becoming, I already am.
Yeah. And that's a part where you really have to play a key role with understanding from the student's perspective is that a human being is not perfect. Anyone you run into is not going to be perfect, but you can see that they're trying to live by those boundaries. Everyone has issues with, the worldly things, temptations with things, the stresses and depression. You read so many things in the news now, people, suicidal, and you're like, wait, what? Like, what happened? Where was their life? And they believed in God. Why would they go that route? So there's a lot that comes into just the belief and then applying it, and then the struggle behind it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, who's your favorite pastor, and how do they inspire you?
Well, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to name 3.
Okay.
I got to name 3.
It's up to you.
Because my favorite pastor is my grandfather.
There you go.
And he's no longer with us.
Okay.
But the times when I was growing up and I was a young kid, like we lived about 12 hours away from my grandfather at one point. I lived close to him all the way up to 11. And then we moved to West Virginia. They were living in Wisconsin. And the times that I got to hear my grandfather preach, I remember back as a little kid, I was mesmerized by how articulate he was with his word. Mm-hmm. And he made what he was doing look effortless.
Yep.
Now, I know now, because I'm on the other side, that it's not effortlless, but when you're operating within your gift and your purpose, it looks to appear to be effortless.
It looks to everybody else like it's easy.
Yeah, so I really looked up to him and admired him, and just he was a cool guy. Not only was he a pastor, but he had done 21 years in the Navy.
There you go.
Then he got out of the Navy and did, I think, another 18 years at Chrysler.
There you go. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
dedicated, disciplined.
Yeah. So he
he
wasn't begging the church for money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was a hardworking person.
Yeah. He
overall.
Was
disciplined, hardworking. That's what's up.
And not only that, he showed so much love, compassion, and grace to his family. Yeah. And he was a pastor and a man of God, but he had so much fun and brought so much light to his family. So he just had the whole package. Some people just, like God gave him everything. It just seems like some people just got everything.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard, and a lot of times when people are looked at like that, because obviously, if you were to talk to him, he wouldn't have said that. He would have said, like, I struggled here, I didn't get this, I didn't do that. But like, it appears, like you said, that the people that have like all these different talents, these different skills, they do stuff so easily. These things come to them, blah blah. But on the other end, it's always like you could see he had a work ethic. He probably did stuff for years and didn't get no success, and then all of a sudden it happened. So it's the difference between somebody that wants something given to them and somebody that is just working because it's saying, okay, God, this is what you want. I'm taking care of my family. I'm going to do this, do that. And then he's blessed. So now you can see the end result. A lot of people, they always don't see the beginning. They always see the end result. The end result is that it's effortless. I guarantee when he started, it wasn't. You know what I mean?
That's it. So it's him. It's Dennis, my pastor that I studied up under for 10 or 11 years, which is Bishop Charles W. Hunter Sr.
Okay.
My grandfather, I was at all of seeing how he could articulate and how he could move and how he could make it look effortless. Mm-hmm. But Pastor Hunter was the one, my spiritual father, that actually showed me not only what happens at the pulpit, he showed me what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn from him firsthand. He was able to take me by the hand and put me in meetings that I wasn't supposed to be in. And, I remember him having me in places where people were asking me, like, he's not supposed to be here. I remembered it. But he said, and I remember him saying, no, he's supposed to be here because I'm here.
Yeah. Leave him alone.
Right. So I remember him showing me things. I remember him taking me into business meetings. I remember him taking me into the church meetings when they were talking about finances. Mm-hmm. So I remember him doing all of this. So he became my father in the spiritual sense. Mm-hmm. So he was a great example. And then one that everybody probably knows that I've learned from afar is Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he's just, it's something about the way he goes about business. Mm-hmm. Even though he's a bishop, even though, he's pastoring a mega church and he's doing all of those things, it's still something down to earth about him that you can still identify with.
Yeah. I mean, even if, I don't know him personally, but even if he wasn't that, he still gives it off that he's just like a regular person. You know what I mean? That's probably the reason why he is so successful. I'm hoping that he is, but I get the sense like that too. He's just a guy you could just talk to, and he would, help you out if he knew you, if you were successful, if you're a celebrity. He's got countless different people that go to his church all the time. It doesn't seem like he's any different for anybody else.
Yeah.
So that's
maybe it's the connection also because he's out of the hills of West Virginia. You know what I'm saying? So,
you gotta give him a little shout out.
Yeah. West Virginia connection.
A little West.
Yeah. Shout out to Martinsburg, West Virginia. Shout out. The 304.
The 304. All right. That's what's up. Okay, so everybody, the first two is more personal, and that's a good blend. Yeah. And then you got the last one that's more, I would say, I wouldn't even use the word like commercial, but he has the ideal of most people that are in that field in terms of business. Because he's on TV, he's basically a celebrity, but he's very successful, and he still is able to touch a lot of people. So, like I said, it goes back. I'm hoping that he does that, and he seems authentic. So
that's it.
Yeah. Any of your current projects that you're involved in that you want to talk about? What's your current thing that you're working on? We talked off camera before.
Man, my current thing that I'm working on now is that I've been mentoring and pouring into people for so long. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about, we're going back 22, 23 years now. That my current thing that I'm working on is to getting my certification in business consulting, life coaching, spiritual coaching, and health and wellness coaching.
That's what's up.
So that's my current thing that I'm working on, that I'm not working at the pace that I should be working on. But that's my current thing that I'm now currently working on, that I will be getting my certification here shortly in all of those areas and spheres.
And then that opens up more doors. That's the work ethic. That's your grandfather in you. You never stop. You make the best of what you have, and then you keep moving. You never know. You know what I mean? So you just got to keep working.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Let me know if you need any help with any of that stuff. I got you for any of the marketing.
Oh, stuff. No, I'm gonna need help.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need help because another thing that I've realized about myself is I'm skillful in areas that I'm skillful in, but I'm coming to a realization that I don't want to learn to have to do everything.
Yeah,
because it to a degree it kills creativity over on the other end
Mm-hmm.
when I'm trying to do something that somebody else is already skillful at.
Yeah. I think that's part of the like going back to like the CEO, delegation, especially like in my other jobs, managing like people, delegating tasks for people is something that always came hard for me because I always felt like if I could do it, that's alleviating stuff from this person, and at least I knew it'll be done at a certain degree. But it actually, like you said, it actually burns you out more. And then that's what you don't have, that creativity, because you're like, I'm focused on this, I'm focused on that. Now this is being put on the back burner because I got to learn this versus just I have somebody that can do that. I have somebody that can do this. Let me do what I can do, and then y'all do what y'all supposed to be doing.
And so, by the time you learn this, you have to be reintroduced to that.
And now you got to go backwards. So I think that's part of anyone that is a business owner or anyone that's in like managing something. That's a lesson that everybody learns. So that's not a bad thing because that means that you're actually doing stuff. I remember Denzel Washington said, he goes, you don't know, what was it? He said, if you don't fail, you're not even trying.
That's it.
So it's like, I guess, he was talking about like failing and failing. I heard Will Smith say it a lot, like fail and fail often, because that means if you're failing at something, you're trying. If you don't fail at anything, you're not even trying to do anything new. You're just standing over here.
I have a good friend of mine, Prophet Purcell. He always says that with each iteration, you learn what not to do. Yeah. So you need those. You need them fails.
Yeah, and you need to grow. So that if you can learn from it, like going back to the biblical sense, we learn until we die. Like we're never gonna be perfect creatures, but you aim for it, and if you work towards that, you live a good life. That's the goal. So, that's a blessing as well. So let me know anything that you need from me. I got you. And as you progress, all I want or I pray about is that you succeed. I like to make sure that everybody that's part of who I meet, we didn't meet for no reason. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, and when we do talk about it, you're gonna probably, I'm gonna tell you what I think I need, and then you'll probably be able to tell me what I really need.
I'll help you. Like I said, we talk. I'm all over the place. I do a lot of stuff, so it's kind of like I'll help where I can. And then, like I said, I can get you the answer if I can't do it. If I can't do it, so we'll be good. So the last question before we get into the shotgun questions is a very important thing that's very relevant now is how do you think social media is affecting being a pastor? What's the pros and the cons of this new age of technology? Implementing it and involving it with being a pastor and prophet.
On the pro side of it, it's giving people more accessibility, and it's giving people that may have not been given an opportunity.
Yeah,
you may have never heard somebody's voice. Now you're getting to hear their voice. The con of it is it's giving everybody an opportunity.
Yeah.
You see?
Now everybody is something special. Everybody's a celebrity. Everybody has their own platform.
Right. So it's the pro of it is also the con. That you want people to have an opportunity and to have a voice.
Yep.
But now everybody has an opportunity and everybody has a voice.
Yeah.
And everybody hasn't been called, ordained, gifted.
Yeah.
To do these, or even grace to be able to do this.
I heard a lot of the there was one influencer that I was listening to, and he was saying this is the reason why everyone that has a voice shouldn't talk, because just because you have a voice doesn't mean that you have the ability to or you should be talking about this topic.
That's
a lot of times, like you said, everyone has a platform, so everybody feels like their opinion is something that someone should be listened to. But ideally, unless it's something that's relevant, I think there's more and more people that are influencing other people because they have the accessibility to them. but
That's
it's not
it.
necessarily the right stuff. You know what I mean? It's not going to apply. Like it's like an oversaturation.
So it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Because you have 10 people saying 10 different things.
Yep.
But only one person is saying the thing you need to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you have to determine which one of these people is saying what I need to listen to.
and then the other 9, what are they saying?
Yeah, and then a person like me, like when I say when God put me on social media, and like I've been doing videos on Facebook almost probably 8-9 years now.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife, like, well, nobody watching them videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, like they probably are watching them more now because you got people that are home. The COVID crisis kind of changed how people do stuff.
I remember videos that I put on social media 7 years ago with 2 or 3 views. I just had a video reach almost 50,000.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, so you can get your voice out, but even with that, all of that's in the Lord's time.
Yeah. And I think that's the other piece, though, right? We want things to work at a certain pace, but it's not really our choice, you know?
Right. Because a lot of times we're praying for stuff that we don't have the mental bandwidth and capacity to handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the danger of everybody wanting something or everybody praying for certain things, not understanding that the other piece of that is that whatever prayers are answered, you want to be able to mentally be able to handle whatever prayers are being answered.
It's kind of like when you ask for something and then you get it, what are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it? Because
like somebody, like people always talk about, okay, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. But God is looking at you like, if I gave you $1 million tomorrow, it'll probably be gone the day after because you don't really know what to do with money. You know what I mean? You don't know how to handle that. But then it's like, okay, well, if you're ready, I'll give it to you. And then I'm going to see what you do with it. Because after you get it, then it's the task of saying, okay, well, I gave it to you. Now what you going to do with it?
Man, when I got my hand on just a little piece of money, and I still went to the store and said that was too much, I said, oh, I may be able to handle it.
Yeah. That's when you know.
Because I always say that resources don't determine decisions.
No.
You can never let what you have or what you don't have determine and make your decisions for you.
Yeah.
Just because you have it doesn't mean you should go, or doesn't mean you should buy it. Doesn't mean you should do it. And that's hard to teach people.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing to learn too, right?
Yeah.
It's like we talk about like within our community, financial education. It's very hard because we're not really taught the pieces that we need in order to be this way. Like we always see, you get money, you buy something nice, you show off, you because we don't have a lot. So when you get it, you're like, I need to put it into this. Versus like, okay, well, you're not going to worry about this, but in like 5 years, you're going to have this, and that. If you do this right now, it's like, I don't want that right now because I don't know how long I'm going to live. So it's kind of like that balancing act of figuring out what do you do with when you get the money, and then where are you going to go if you have this amount of money if you're trying to get that. Because it's all about like, the quality of life, right?
Yeah, and then it's a grace that I have. See, God, what I love about him, he gives you grace to blow.
Yeah, to mess up.
Because he knows that you've never had.
Yeah, he knows. He knows what you're gonna do. You're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna give you 10,000. I'm gonna give you like 1,000 and see what you do. And you blew that 1,000. So okay, so if I gave you 10, you'd be broke too. So it's like, but when you get that 2, and you're like, I milked it for like 6 months, and you got this, and that. He's like, oh, okay, you ready?
Oh,
for like 5. You know what I mean? Not even 5, you know?
Yeah, so he gives you grace because we're growing and we're learning and we're maturing and we're all becoming better. than we
Better,
were
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But we have to give people the grace to grow, meaning that I have to allow you to be able to make a mistake without frowning upon the mistake.
Without like, that's, I think that's the hardest thing with most people, right? Somebody makes a mistake, you say, oh, that's something I'm gonna make them pay for the rest of their life, and then as they're paying for it, they're not really understanding what it was that they did. They just understand the pain that came from it, but they're not really learning like to not do it again. They're not really learning like what it could have cost.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's the only real thing that God controls that we don't really understand yet. We'll never understand it because we don't know the purpose of like why you're here. You know, we don't understand it. We may learn like, oh, I was here to do this, I was here to do that, but we don't really understand the grand scheme, like why you were particularly here. They're talking about like when you're born, literally every person that's born basically outlives like millions of people that could have been.
Yeah.
So if you ever existed, you superseded millions of other people that didn't even get here. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to look at it like, regardless of how anybody would say to you, you're a unique person because you actually existed.
Yeah.
There's like millions of people that don't make it. You know what I mean?
I can't live my whole life and not learn or understand why I was here.
Yeah.
See, because that would be living too long. I have to find my purpose, because no amount of money is worth your purpose.
It's worth your purpose, yeah.
And people that don't understand what we're talking about or understand purpose, they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it.
Nope.
Everything is about the purpose of why you were created to be here. You're a husband, you're a father, you're an actor, there's so many different things that you are, and you're all of those. And God has given you the grace to become all of those.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you have now that in every intricate relationship in the individual, you really, if you understand, like you said, if you understand that, then you're looking at the perception of why you have all that stuff differently too. It's like, I don't look at it like I was just doing this and just to kind of just splurge or live. It's like, there's a particular reason why I have all these like skills. And I think everybody looks at it like that. You have these particular skills. Going back to your story, and you're saying there's a particular reason why you saw that judge, and that judge had that feeling, so that you were able to move on. Now, so you have a responsibility to do that now. It's not like you were given that opportunity just because. It's like you were given these skills to do something with it. So that's your responsibility. At least that's how I look at like God.
No, that's exactly right, because what I omitted from that story was the judge that my lawyer told me if I wanted any judge that was going to show any leniency, it was that one.
It was that one. Yeah.
It was that one. So the court cases were delayed for 2.5 years.
Yep.
For me to get that particular judge.
Yep.
So for me, I always say this to my wife, for me not to become who I was created to be, for all of the grace that I have been given, all of the male role models and mentors that I've had in my life that taught me, would be a smack in the face to everybody.
Yeah.
For me not to fully become who God created me to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a lesson that a lot of people need to hear, and a lot of things that they overlook. You know, people are so quick nowadays in this generation to cancel people, you know, individuals in their life that they, like you said, they don't give them any chances. They're just like, oh, you don't work? Okay, I'm out. Oh, this ain't good for me, I'm out. And then you're not really learning anything because you're not challenging yourself. Yeah. You're not like when you challenge and you go back to the failing thing. When you fail something, it's like, what could I have done to make it a little bit better here? Yeah. Okay, so the next time I'm gonna work and do that. And you can still fail, but you learn that lesson from this one, and then you kind of keep building. So I think it's a very important thing that you're doing as a prophet and as a pastor, because I think any type of teacher is helping the overall of humanity. You know what I mean? It's the overall. It's not just the individual. It's like, how am I going to be affected by your testimony? How is this conversation going to transcend from this moment till, the next person? There's somebody that watches it on YouTube or Facebook. They may need to hear what you said.
And then the last part of it is, which is really my first concern, is to be conscious of, while I'm pouring into everybody else, that I have not become empty.
Yeah.
To not pour into my wife.
Yeah.
To not pour into my son, my daughter. To not pour into my own family.
Yeah.
And for me to be what I need to be to them, that they're not getting what's left of me, but that they're still getting the best of me. Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing for most fathers, right? We work so hard to provide. Sometimes we actually forget that there's another part to it. It's like you have to make money and make sure everything is going afloat, but then like people need fathering, they need guidance, they need discipline. Your wife needs her husband. Like, it's not like I always say, like, a father and a husband are two different jobs. It's not the same thing intertwined. There's two different things, totally different jobs. It's one is the father, the other one is the husband. So you got you got to deal with, for you, dealing with yourself. Then you got your family, your kids, you got the wife, right? And then you got everybody else that you interact with. So it's like, you have to be multifaceted. You can't be like, you can't have tunnel vision. It's like everyone's going to affect and react to the same thing, because everyone's different.
Absolutely.
All right. So now we're going to go into the shotgun questions. So some of the fans get a little bit of, your taste on different things, different topics. All right. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You can elaborate if you like, or you can just say this or that. Like, if I ask you hamburgers or hot dogs, you say
hamburger.
There you go. All right. Let me see. Okay. All right. So, better franchise: Yankees or Red Sox?
Yankees.
Okay. Best player: LeBron or Michael Jordan?
LBJ.
Okay. Okay. Better artist. This is like a musician, artist. Yeah. Okay. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Ooh,
I gotta ask you some hard ones. I know you're a fan, so.
But
be careful.
I'm gonna tread lightly. I'm gonna go with MJ.
Okay.
The king of pop.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you what. The distance is not what people think it is.
Yeah. Very close. If you know both.
The distance is not what people think. When we're talking about Prince, we're talking about a musical genius. But when it comes down to what Mike meant to the culture, and how his reach extended, like, there was people in Zimbabwe
that know Michael Jackson.
Jerusalem. That know Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And
like I said, it's not that far from people knowing Prince either.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everybody has their. I think it's real close, and it's a good question that you can kind of see where you fall in. A lot of people that I've talked to, they say like Michael, because in terms of like performance and, like you said, going back to the culture and how it like transcends, he did a little bit more there, because there's other artists that kind of emulated him, and they're great too. But like, in terms of like an artist, overall musician, a lot of people give it to Prince, because he's like played every instrument, sing, act, dance. Like, you
The
know,
artistry was crazy.
yeah, I don't. It's on a whole nother level. So,
And then they both from the Midwest.
yeah, shout out.
Shout out.
All right, all right. All right. So the next question is a little longer,
Okay.
but it's if you got into a fight, okay? If you got into a fight, you go to an area, and a guy is trying to fight you, and there's two people in the bar. One of those people you can choose to help you, but the other person, your opponent gets. So it's going to be 2-on-2.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you choosing Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Or Muhammad Ali?
I'm gonna tell you. Oh man.
Be careful.
I'm on. We in a bar.
You're in a bar.
I'm taking Mike.
A guy tries to fight you.
Give me Mike.
You see Mike and you see Muhammad. Who you picking?
Give me Mike.
Mike? Okay.
Give me Mike.
Okay.
So Mike from the gutter.
Yeah. He's out in the boxing ring.
Look.
There ain't no rules. Yeah.
Mike not letting us come out of there until we win.
Yeah, we out. Yeah. You know. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's real close.
It's real close.
We don't know what Muhammad would do outside of the ring because you saw we could do inside of the ring.
That's
so
it.
It's the same type of question. They're both great.
Yeah, see, but the reason I see Mike bite off an ear.
Yeah. He's willing to do that in and out. he's willing to do that in and out of the ring. So all right.
Yeah.
So you going with Mike. That's what's up.
Right.
It is what it is. It's not the first time. It ain't gonna be the last. A lot of people will say that too. The last one is a art nerd kind of question. I'm a big comic book fan. I don't know if you like comic books. I've always loved comic books, but and I'm a movie fan. So, are you a team Marvel person or a team DC person? Do you like Iron Man or do you like Superman?
Man, I'm a Marvel person.
Marvel, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, give me that Marvel.
All right.
Yeah. Well, see, again, that's
like I said, be careful.
Yeah, that's relative though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because there's people on both sides that any given day, depending on what you need.
Yep.
You know, so
a lot of people, like I said, it's not really like I don't look at it like these are questions that you're going to lose either side. Yeah. It's just, this is how people kind of get an insight of you and certain things that like you like, and they're like, oh, I didn't think he knew that, or I didn't think he liked that, or you know what I mean? Everybody, like the Mike Tyson thing. Some people have chosen Muhammad Ali, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have chose him, but why would when they break it down? I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You know, well, maybe I'm thinking about it. So it's kind of like, you know.
And I get it, and this is great because when people see me a lot of times, especially on social media, they know what to expect. Mm-hmm. And I think that brings some people a level of comfort in a world where they don't know what to expect from a whole lot of different people.
Yeah.
But it's like in the movies, if people keep on seeing you play that role, they typecast.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, okay, he just looks like that. Like, you know what I mean? But you ever see the people that are in the movies and you be like, I know that dude, or I know that woman. I don't know her name, or I don't know his name, but like he's in every movie. He plays the same person in every movie. You know what I mean? But him and her are getting paid because they have that look, and that's the character that they always play.
That's it.
You know? So I don't really see it as a negative. I have a lot of actor friends, and they're on the show, you know, here and there. I like to break it up and get a little bit of everything. Right. But a lot of the friends that I know that have made it to mainstream, meaning that they're on, you know, regular TV, in the theaters, things like that, they say the same thing. Sometimes you get typecast and you go with it, you know, because you got a constant paycheck. And then some people, they've expanded their portfolio to some degree that they can kind of play like anything.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it's mainly the script that they look for. It's not the role anymore. It's like they have to get the script. So then when you get to that level, you're at a whole nother level in terms of that art form, because you're able to play like Denzel. He's able to play a crooked cop.
Yeah.
And he's able to play a teacher. And he's able to play a real person. He's able to play Hamlet. He played Macbeth. He played Macbeth.
Yeah. So he getting the script.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you go from one extreme to the next, and he's able to play all of them at the same level? It's like it's a total different level.
And Denzel showing them he telling them how to shoot the scene now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a whole nother art form, a director. Right. You know, when you get to that level where you're able to help other actors, get that out of them. You know, so I give kudos to anybody that kind of understands it, and then they kind of they grow as an artist. But I like to give a little piece of you to the fans that maybe they never knew about them. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I asked. So. All right. So is there any where they need to look for you or they need to find you on social media? Where can they find you at? Like Instagram and Twitter and
Instagram, Frank Turner.
Okay.
Dot 313 at Instagram. They can find me Frank Turner on Facebook. Franklin M. Turner Ministries on Facebook.
There you
go. So that's where they can find me.
Okay.
On those platforms.
All right. Awesome. Well, I thank you for being a guest on my show, bro. And like I said, we talked off camera, so whenever you're ready, we can go down and make a list of stuff, and then we'll knock it out in terms of what you need for marketing, and then we'll take it from there. We got a lot of stuff.
I'll probably reach out to you when I officially get my certification. I'm ready to add that to the profile. Then that's when we'll reach out and start to discuss how I need to shape it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. Okay. So once again, I thank you, sir. I pray for the best. I want you the best and success for you, and we will be in touch soon.
And I appreciate the invite, my brother.
No problem. Always.
All right.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.